Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name's Dahlia. Today we are back on Croakwood, my all-frog fishing village, working on another build. Today we are going to be working on a fish and chip shop for Puddles. So I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure to leave a like on the video if you enjoy. Make sure to drop a comment on the video as well, letting me know how your day is going, and subscribe if you are new to the channel. So yeah, let's just go. So we're working on the area here behind Lily's house. Please ignore the mess.
Ooh, this is nice. Girl, this audience is you right here? Okay.
I had to time travel to get Big Top to move off the island so that I can move on Puddles, and it took me a few days. It took me 2 real days in real life, and then like a bunch of days on the island. Anyway, Puddles is on the island. I'm customizing her house. You know the drill. So I always make sure to include, regardless of what my theme is, I always make sure to include like something in the villager's home that is similar to the color scheme of the villager. So I gave Puddles a little pink door for her house. I was gonna do the pink walls, but I'm like, I feel like the pink door is a little bit more subtle and blends in a little bit better with the color scheme of the island. So like I said at the beginning, we are doing a fish and chips shop for Puddles, and I'm doing a similar thing that I did for my seafood boil restaurant that we did a while ago, and then also similar to the cafe build I did in my most recent video on this island for Lily. So we're going to be doing unlike Lily's house but similar to the seafood boil, we're going to be doing 2 separate areas that are like connected together. So we're going to do Puddles' house, and then I'm also going to be doing a 2-story building that is going to be the fish and chip shop. So I'm right now just placing down the wooden planks that are going to go around Puddles' house, and now we're going to quickly build up the roof. Now I am right against the back left corner of my map, obviously, if you couldn't tell.
Thank you, Catherine Obvious. What? I said thank you, Catherine Obvious.
And right beside here is also my secret beach. And I already knew going into, not even just going into this build, I already knew what I was going to be building for my secret beach. I've had the idea in my head for a while, and debated whether or not I was going to be including it in this build today, but I decided, you know what, just to make everything kind of seamless, and because it was such a simple build, we're also going to be building around my secret beach, and we're going to be doing a little fish market around the secret beach area. So
I'm sorry, I didn't know this was going to be happening today. I am ecstatic to be a part of this.
I quickly time traveled to move Puddles' house. Her house is obviously customized, and then I also started on the exterior of the restaurant. And like I said, these are going to be 2 separate builds, so they're connected obviously by like the wooden deck.
I've connected the 2 dots.
You didn't connect shit, but
I've connected them.
But they're 2 like separate builds. Unlike, for example, when I did Lily's house, I had her cafe directly behind her house, so it made it look like basically one giant building. These are 2 separate buildings, and I did the same thing when I did my seafood boil restaurant. That building is on the right back corner of the map, and I like that they're basically the same kind of build, but mirroring each other. So this one I have the house on the right and then the building on the left, and then for the other build the house is on the left and then the building's on the right. So it was nice to kind of like flip the builds, and I feel like it makes the builds a little bit more seamless, which I really like. Obviously the builds are in 2 separate areas on the island, but they still flow together quite nicely.
But I've connected them.
I also debated putting the fish and chip shop near the seafood boil place. I do have space in the back right of the island, so I could have, but I kind of like the idea of putting Puddles and Lily together. So
what? Did we just become best friends? Yep.
I decided to do that instead. So I am now placing down some of my water code. I already placed down my trees, and I do the same thing for this island each time. I place down my deck first, then I plant my trees, and then we build the water around the trees. It's just worked best for me, and it's the easiest way to kind of like make it so that everything is seamless. And it has not failed me yet so far. So we're almost finished this island, so I've had no problem creating these builds like this. So anyways, like I said, we are going to be working on my secret beach area, and I went into this build knowing I wanted to include another bridge somewhere, and I was actually going to have the bridge connecting the fish and chip shop to Puddle's house, but it was too big and I didn't have enough space. So instead we're placing the iron bridge right here, and then it's going to lead over to the secret beach, and then we're going to have a little dock area right here, and it's going to look, I'm so glad I chose to include the iron bridges on this island in this way. It's been like just such a creative way to use the bridges without obviously using like real water terraforming. I really like it, and to use it like this is, I don't know, I like it. There's no other way to describe it. I just think it looks really nice, and it's like a creative way to kind of like, you know, use the bridges and use, like, I'm also using like the inclines for the builds, even though like the builds aren't actually leading really to anywhere. They're just going to like a second story kind of like little rooftop area. So I don't know, I really like it. It's a fun way to kind of explore and be creative, especially when you're doing a flat island like this, which this will be my first ever completed flat island. Obviously I do have inclines and I do have like second tier cliffs, but like there's no real like second tier builds, if that makes any sense. Like it doesn't lead to like a second tier cliff that has like it does, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I hope you know what I mean. Anyways, now we're going to be working on the restaurant. I'm doing the same thing for the restaurant that I've done for my previous ones. We're just using the retro transportation stops. For this one, I decided to use yellow and brown. For Lily's below here, I did completely green. And then for the Seafood Bow restaurant, I believe I used blue and green. So I wanted to mix it up a little bit and keep the colors like unique and distinctive. Those are the colors I've been using on the island for the retro transportation stops when I create my fake buildings. So yeah, it looks really, really nice. I obviously, if you couldn't tell, I'm kind of tight on space for this build. Like it's right up against my map. I could have moved it over, but then I wouldn't have had as much space for my my secret beach build, and I wanted to make sure I had enough space for that build. So I definitely made this particular area a little bit smaller than my other restaurant, but it worked out in the end. It's simple. I kept the building quite minimal. When you see the front of how I decorate it, but I did the same thing for this build as I did for my Seafood Bow restaurant. It's exactly the same kind of layout, just a little bit smaller. So I placed this little fish and chips sign in front of the building, and then I'm just adding a few items at the front of the build. Like I said, it's very small, very compact, so I don't have a lot of space to work with. But to be honest, not allowing myself a ton of space kind of makes this build look, I don't know, a little bit more realistic, because I'm not like just placing a ton of items down just to fill in space. It's like right up against the edge, so you have like the trees and the wheat fields and everything to the left, and then I'm just placing a couple of items just to make it look like an actual building with the little door and everything. And it's really cute. Like I really like how this whole build came together. Even though I didn't give myself a ton of room to work with, it still looks really cute. Like I can't really complain. So now we're going to be working on the area around Puddle's house. I wanted to throw the cart banner down. Obviously, fish and chip shop clearly made sense. And then I placed a couple of additional items around her house, gave her a cute little sitting area. And yeah, and then now we're going to be working on the secret beach, I quickly placed a couple of party lights quickly just to transition the space from Lily's house to Puddles. And I'm lucky I managed to actually fit these. I didn't think I was gonna get a chance to put a couple more party lights, but it did in fact work out. So for the secret beach, I said I was going to be doing a very simple little fish market. I have one other fish market on my island, and it's at the very front of my plaza. I wanted to do another one that's kind of like, it's not even really a market, it's just kind of like a fishing port, fishing dock kind of area. So obviously we're connecting like the beach to the build and like incorporating the beach. I still haven't started decorating any of my beaches on this island, so that is definitely going to be the biggest task once we're finished like the main land build. But I definitely got a feel for how I want my beaches to be decorated on this island. I think it's just going to be a lot of like natural, like palm trees, wheat fields, some garden rocks, and then maybe like a couple of smaller areas. I am going to be placing both of my shops on my beaches as well. So except for like a couple builds like that, I feel like the majority of the beaches are going to be a little bit more simplistic, but definitely decorated, because this obviously is a summer island and I can't just not decorate my beaches, if you catch my drift. So as I've been rambling about my beaches, I placed just a ton of fish stack fish containers and fish containers on the dock. Like I said, we're keeping it simple, and then I have a little yacht just kind of placed at the edge of the dock just to, you know, add a little bit more to the overall build. And as you can see, I kept the color scheme exactly the same for all of the items I used. I just did the yellow, orange, and green. But yeah, that is everything for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Love how this build turned out. If you are not already, make sure to drop a like on the video. Make sure to comment down below. And if you are not already, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future builds from me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys!